this notebook where we created a chat prompt template from template. It had a single value to parameterize, namely English statement. We created an actual prompt with an actual value by invoking the template with the actual value we wanted to pass in as English statement, right? And then we were able to invoke the model using our prompt and pop off the content to get the model response. Right? But you can see, again, repeating ourselves once again here, when we called invoke on the template, we passed in the value for our parameter just as a simple string. And in this case, that's fine, since the template, right, which we show here, was only expecting a single value, namely English statement, right? Here's the English statement that we have parameterized, right? You can look at it again up here. There's only one of these parameters that needs populating. Therefore, we were able to pass in a simple string, and LangChain knows, hey, one parameter is needed, one value is passed in, we're good to go. However, and very commonly, when invoking templates that expect multiple values, all right, and in fact, it's really kind of a best practice even for templates that expect a single value, instead of passing in a string, we pass in a dict, a Python dictionary, that maps the template placeholders to their intended values. Thus, a better way of invoking our template above would be to do English to Spanish template invoke, and now instead of just passing in the string, today is a good day, we're going to pass in a Python dictionary, and we're going to specify that English statement, which is exactly the parameter we're looking to fulfill, should be set equal to today is a good day, right? And we can see if we execute, right, this results in the exact same prompt that we created above. Okay. Now, currently you might be saying to yourself like, that's just additional typing, right? I didn't need to do it. Why would I do it? Okay, but specifying which string maps to which placeholder via dictionary items becomes essential, not just a best practice, but essential when you work with prompts that expect multiple values. So here we're going to demonstrate the creation and use of our more general template from above that allows for the translation from and to arbitrary languages. So now we're going to create a translate template. Again, we're going to use chat prompt template from template, but now we're going to say translate the following from language, which is a parameter, to language, which is a parameter, provide, I found a typo, let's fix that. Provide only the translated text statement, right? So now we have three values that we've parameterized, from language, to language, and statement. So now when we want to actually create a specific instance of this prompt template, then again, we're going to invoke it. However, now it's essential that we specify which of our specific values matches to which of the expected parameters. So again, we're going to pass in a dictionary, but now we're going to say from language should be set equal to English, to language to French, statement. Sometimes a little additional complexity is worth it, right? So let's run these cells here, and you can see if we pass in our prompt, we're able to get our English statement translated into French, which I won't try to pronounce because I don't really have a French accent. Okay, so that leads us to the exercise for this particular notebook. And as mentioned, this is actually a little bit more of a mini project. Okay, so this is going to be significantly more work than you've done in the previous exercises. And in this exercise, what you're going to do is you're going to capture 3 different LLM related tasks, and you're going to capture them into prompt templates. All right? And then you're going to apply each of these tasks to a list of statements that we're going to be providing you. Excuse me. More specifically, okay, the LLM related tasks that you should create templates for are 1, sentiment analysis, which is to say you should ascertain whether the overall sentiment of a given piece of text is positive or negative. Second, a main topic identification. You should identify and state the main topic for a given piece of text. 3, a follow-up question generation. So generate an appropriate and interesting follow-up question that will clarify some aspect of a given piece of text. We would like you, please, to use the following statements list here as the pieces of text that you should use for each of your templates. And upon completion, you should be able to perform these 3 LLM-related tasks on all 5 pieces of provided text. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're up for the challenge, Like I said, this is more work than the previous exercises, but if you're up for it, please feel free to begin your work straight away. Here's a cell for you to get started on. You can create more. You can work through this. You got it, right? However, because it is a longer exercise, if you would like some assistance, there is a cell here called walkthrough that you can use to help you walk through step by step the different sub parts of this particular task as we approached it. I'm not going to expand it now for those of you who are maybe considering whether or not they want to do it and you don't want to actually see it before it ruins the surprise. But if you open up this walkthrough, you're not going to be given the full solution to the problem. You're going to be given like a step-by-step guidance of the different steps you might take to accomplish this sub-project. And along the way, there'll be smaller exercises for you to perform where we then provide the solutions to those exercises, right? So you can kind of get a little bit of help as you go, but also still get to do some programming of your own without being given the entire solution. Okay. So if you'd like to do the walkthrough, that sounds great. If you want to do it yourself, that's also awesome. Now is a good time, however, to pause the video. You should assume that this will take a little bit of time for you to accomplish, but when you're ready, come back and start the video again, at which point I'm going to open up the walkthrough and go through the walkthrough, including the solutions in the walkthrough, and we can look at how we approached accomplishing this problem. Okay, good luck. This is a fun little mini project, and hopefully you're going to start to feel like you're accomplishing some kind of legitimate work with the little bit that you've learned so far. So good luck on it, and pause the video. I'll be right here when you're ready to see how we implemented the solution. Okay, so hopefully you're able to pull this off, right? These are all, even just like a few years ago, these different tasks here, each required like their own deep learning neural network, which you had to like train yourself and which were really finicky and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, it's just incredible these days that we can use a single large language model to accomplish all of them with a little bit of prompting. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Here's the way that we approach this. First, we started with a prompt template for sentiment analysis. So we say here, start by constructing prompt templates for each of the LLM related tasks we'd like to accomplish, beginning with a prompt template for sentiment analysis. Feel free to check out the solution below if you get stuck, right? So we're going to go ahead and look. And here we created a sentiment template. We had to iterate on this a little bit, but we found a prompt that worked out well. Namely, in a single word, either positive or negative, provide the overall sentiment of the following piece of text. And then we parameterized text. Okay, so now we've got a prompt template for that. Similarly, let's now create a prompt template for main topic identification. In our case, we said identify and state as concisely as possible the main topic of the following piece of text. Only provide the main topic and no other helpful comments. And we provided the text after kind of indicating we were providing the text here. And once again, like we started by playing around with an LLM, and instead of parameterizing one of these, we just passed it in and we kind of iterated on this prompt and made it more specific until we found that it behaved as we wanted, at which point in time we popped out the actual text we had provided it, right, and created a parameter of that text so that we could use it with other inputs. Finally, same setup, a prompt template for the follow-up question. Here we say, what's an appropriate and interesting follow-up question that would help me learn more about the provided text? Only supply the question. And here we say text goes here, and we provide a parameter for the text. Okay, so now that we have all three of these prompt templates in place, in order to generate batched responses for each of our three LLM-related tasks, we're going to need a list of prompts for each task. So for this step of the exercise, we're going to use statements, which again, we define that above just to prove it. Here are our statements. We're going to use statements in conjunction with each of the prompt templates we just created to create a list of prompts for each of the three LLM-related tasks we want to accomplish. Okay, so again, here we're saying we're going to have a list of sentiment prompts for each of our 5 statements, a list of main topic prompts, a list of follow-up prompts. This is more of a Python thing than anything else. But yeah, we're just creating a list here by invoking a statement for every statement in our list of statements. Maybe we could have done something a little bit more straightforward than this, but this gives us the 3 lists that we need. Okay, and then as a next step, we're going to use batching to call the LLM with each of our constructed prompts, one for each task. Batching makes sense here because we have a list of prompts. So our solution was quite simple. We got our sentiments by batching our sentiment prompts. Same for main topics, same for follow-ups. Okay, and then finally, this is totally optional. You weren't asked to do this in the exercise, but we suggested and recommended why not loop over the original statements and also all the model responses for the various topics and make a nice printout of everything. If you chose to do this, that's great. Otherwise, you could use our solution. And here again, we're gonna loop over all of the statements, sentiments, main topics, and follow-ups, which we've zipped together. And then we're just doing a little bit of string formatting here. And you can see, here's a statement. I had a fantastic time hiking up the mountain yesterday. The overall sentiment was positive. The main topic was hiking. And as a follow-up question, what made the hike particularly enjoyable for you? This works great, right? And you can see for each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statements, we were able to do each of these 3 language-related tasks in a way that was really quite straightforward, right? So through a combination of capturing LLM-related functionality and also in-prompt templates and also batching calls to a chat model, hopefully you'll agree that you're already starting to perform legitimate work. Even with what you know thus far, it's really not hard to see how you could easily extend it to create a serious amount of LLM-powered analysis and text generation on large collections of textual data, right? You already know how to do that. But however, we're only getting started. In the next section, beginning with the next notebook, we're going to introduce something called LangChain Expression Language, or LCEL for short, which is going to enable you to create concise but powerful chains of LLM application functionality. And as you'll see, using LCEL chains, it's going to allow us to create functionality much like you did in the previous exercise, but in a way that's way more efficient and concise. So let me say congratulations on completing section 1. Hopefully you were able to accomplish that first mini project with success. And I will see you in the next section. Just remember that you can find that over here on the left-hand side file viewer. You'll need to come up here and click back into this root directory. Right? And now you can see here's the section we just finished. And next we're going to click on section 2.